Hey guys, it's Championship Sunday here on the Gears Pro Circuit, Mexico City, and we are joined by a man who needs no introduction. He's the face behind the What Face, esports commentator, esports host, your all-around esports personality, Alex Mendez, aka Goldenboy. How are you, man?
I'm good, man. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for being here. So, tell us a bit about how you got here. Is this your first time in Mexico? What's going on with it?
So this is my third time in Mexico. I went to Cancun with my wife a couple years ago to go see, Chichen Itza, which is beautiful. Then came here for the Halo World Championship for a Mexico City stop. It was incredible. We were by Polanco and we went to the Foro Corona. Really, really nice place and great games, amazing time. And I had always wanted to come to Mexico for a Gears of War tournament, and I told them, I told Coalition, I said, if you make it happen, I will be there. And it finally, the stars aligned, and here I am, third time in Mexico. Love this place, a beautiful city, and amazing food, best food.
So have you had a chance to do any sightseeing here in Mexico City?
Yeah. So me and my wife went to Zócalo. We went to go do that. They ended up going to I think we went to Chapultepec, Castillo Chapultepec. Yeah, so that was really nice. I got to sightsee around there. It was me and my wife, my mother-in-law Pau as well. Okay. So we had a really good time with that. And yeah, I mean, overall, I've just been eating. I've been eating a lot of tacos. Okay, I've been putting it on Twitter. Yeah. I'm all about the tacos. Every taco, al pastor, bistec, pollo, chorizo, doesn't matter. I'm eating them all.
Yeah. Not to throw any shade, but here we have the real thing, man. Not like American tacos. Like, here's the real deal.
Yeah, well, I'm from the Bronx, and in the Bronx we actually have an incredible Mexican community. So I've had the pleasure of having absolutely delicious Mexican tacos from people who came from all parts of Mexico. But it's something about when you're here and you're eating it here, and it's so nice. And I got a nice full belly, so I love it.
I'm glad you're enjoying it. Now onto the event, which is the reason you're here. What do you think about it so far? Competition, production. What were your first impressions?
Well, obviously, big thank you to Gamelta for doing this. I think what they do for the Mexican esports community is fantastic, and I think I knew that I was going to expect a lot of people, and I just didn't expect so many people here. So it's so awesome, and everyone's so supportive. And I think the love for Elevate, for Ghost Gaming, I love that. That's home field advantage. It's really cool. But yeah, first impressions. I think it's great to see more esports events in Latin America, in Mexico most importantly. I think this is a fantastic region for esports, and I want to see it continue to develop. I know that the players here have so much passion. I talk with Lestat all the time from the Halo community, and he's so passionate about this and wants to see it grow and blow up even more. And I think it's going to happen, especially as the world becomes more connected. We're going to get more events down here, and I think Gears of War is leading the charge, and it's amazing.
What do you think of the teams? Any team you're looking at very closely? Any dark horse that you think might make the run?
Well, we just had Mazer Gaming take out Reciprocity. I got to give a shout out to Mazer. 5 guys who work very well together. They're not the biggest names in Gears of War, but they have made, I guess, a name for themselves here. So huge performance from them. But I think I'm really looking out for Ghost. Yesterday they struggled against Denial, and it was brutal. And I really thought that Ghost was going to win that game, but Denial are looking really, really good. So I'll have to say Ghost Gaming. I got to pay attention to them, and hopefully we'll see them make that run in the losers bracket.
What do you think about the fans? They've been going crazy. I talked with Dana yesterday. They love the Mexican or Latin American fans. What do you think?
It's I think what it is because we don't get a lot of events over here, right? Like we don't get a lot of opportunities, so it's a lot like, I compare it to Australia. When I went to Australia for the Overwatch World Cup, I was talking to fans and I asked them, "Are you an Overwatch fan?" And they would say, "No, I'm literally just here because we don't get events. So I just want to be with people who I am like, right?" And I think it's the same atmosphere in Mexico. They want to be with fans that they can connect with and create that camaraderie, right? That family connection, and that's awesome. And then I've been meeting a lot of people that really, really, really want the What Face, which is perfectly fine. So that was cool. I guess they never, a lot of people didn't know I was a What Face, and they see me walk around, they're like, "Oh, what face? And I'm like, okay, what face?
I know you from somewhere.
Yeah, so it's awesome. It's amazing.
So we can have a conversation with you without talking about a bit of about your career.
Yeah.
So you've been all over the place. You've worked with several studios, several brands, several esports titles, video game titles that have not necessarily a pro scene, but you've done it all. Can you give us like the crash course of who you are and where you came from? How do you get to this point?
Well, I mean, I started competing in Call of Duty. Halo was always a big passion of mine, though. That was always like, Halo and Gears of War actually were like the first multiplayer games that I played with my brother, and it really gave us a great connection to just continue to play more multiplayer games together. And that was really where it started. Then when I wanted to get into competition, then I got into Call of Duty because I was like big on game battles at the time. Yeah. Played a lot of Call of Duty and climbed my way up the ladder and did all that stuff. And then I started to get into MLG and competing at events. But after a little while, I had a full-time job. I was married. I couldn't keep up with it. Okay. So I decided to back away. But then one day, a friend of mine from Major League Gaming reached out to me and said, hey, we need a commentator for this Uncharted exhibition, Uncharted 2. Okay, yeah. The PlayStation game, right? Nice. And I was like apparently the only person he knew that played the game. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'm totally down to do that. I show up, or actually a day before the event, I get a call and they said, hey, our commentator for Call of Duty can't make it. Are you willing to commentate Call of Duty 2? And I was like, yeah, sure, why not, right? Yeah. I was like, am I getting paid? And he was like, yeah, sure, we'll pay you, whatever. And, I told my wife, she's like, no way, you're going to make money for this? This is unbelievable. Yeah, so fast forward, right, did that event, it went really well, and kept doing more events. And, here I am. It's pretty surreal. I don't deserve any of it. I'm grateful every day that it's a thing, and I work hard. Like, a lot of people oftentimes they think that they should get this, like this is theirs for the taking, but the reality is like this is incredibly hard work. I went many years without getting paid, and I didn't even do it because I wanted to get paid. I just did it because I enjoyed it. It was fun, and I just like video games, and I'm very grateful to have had these opportunities in my life, and also, as a Puerto Rican from the Bronx and from New York, I want to hopefully inspire other kids across the world that maybe come from less than stellar situations in their life to be able to do these kinds of things, because it is possible. Excuse me. We live in an age where you can make videos, you can stream, you could make your own blog, you can build your own opportunities, and I didn't have that when I was coming up. So I encourage everyone out there, like, it's not about where you're from, the color of your skin, or what you got, or what's in your bank account. It's just about your passion, and if you love it, just do it. And that's the best part about video games.
Regarding how you are able to transition from game to game to game and time again to another game, how do you manage that? Did you decide that early on in your career, like, I'm going to go a wide range rather than focus only on one? Or was that like pushed onto you, the circumstances moved you from one game to another?
It was a little bit of the circumstances. I was casting a lot of Call of Duty at the time, and then I was given an opportunity to do an event with Battlefield, and then I did that, and I was like, oh wow, this is very fun. But it also just comes from my like personality. I like a lot of things. Okay. It's something that my friends make fun of me about. My wife says I have way too many hobbies. I love a lot. I love video games, period. So I watch Halo, and I'm like, oh my God, I love Halo. I watch Gears of War, I'm like, oh my God, I love Gears of War. CSGO, oh my God, I love CSGO. I just love it all. So because of that, I just naturally follow all of these games as a fan. And then to be able to apply that in my career, I think was really just kind of like luck of the draw. I didn't really think it happened like this. I like a lot of things. What can I say?
and you obviously said a big part of this is to put in the hard work.
Yes.
How do you prepare when you're approaching a new game, or a game that you haven't had a chance to interact maybe with that community or the pro scene or the scene at all?
No, it's challenging, right? Because you have to get integrated, but I really view everything from afar. Okay. Go to the Reddits, I follow the key personalities on Twitter, I follow the news, right? Some games it's easier to do that than others, but it's very fun to kind of just like learn about all of these different communities, and then I apply that to it. And like I said, I watch all these events, so I watch all the games. I follow a good chunk of broadcasters and content creators, and that allows me to be able to keep up to date with this stuff. And then, you know, as you do it more and more, you start to realize that between a variety of games, there's so many similarities that you can take your style and bring that to different games. And I think so long as the style remains the same and you are true to yourself, you can anyone can transition from game to game. If you just the number one thing though is you have to enjoy it. I have a very firm rule: I never work a game that I do not like.
Okay.
So you may know, not to talk bad about games, right? But if I don't play MOBAs that much, right? So I don't do League of Legends, or I don't understand Dota that well, so I haven't done Dota. That's not to say I'll never do them, because I watch the international, I watch the minors, but I don't really follow the gameplay that well because I don't play it myself. But I play a lot of Fortnite, I play a lot of Halo, I play a lot of Overwatch, Gears of War. These are games that I'm constantly following and I enjoy it. So if I enjoy the game, chances are I'm going to try and get in and work the game.
So what could you give some tips or things that you've learned either the hard way or the good way for people who are trying to break into this, either as a content creator or a caster or a host? What can you say to them?
Well, I think the number one thing is never go into this world expecting to get a paycheck. Okay. I think there's always this misconception that just because we work in video games, it's the easiest job in the world, and it's totally not. Whether you're someone who works on social media or game development or production or art design or commentary or whatever it may be, right? It's all hard work at the end of the day. We're still putting in that work. So I think if you get into this with the idea that you're going to make a paycheck and it's going to be an easy job, then you might as well not even bother. It's about passion. If you love this stuff, if you're willing to put everything aside and work on this thing and hone your craft or make a game or do something cool like that, that to me is that's the biggest piece of advice I could give anyone, right? Never enter this world thinking that you're going to make a paycheck. But also, if you're trying to get into this space too, if you're a commentator or a host or a content creator, make your own content. Again, don't expect that you're going to make money from your content. You got to put the work out there.
Thanks very much, and I think people will appreciate advice from someone who's been there, and right now he's in a pretty good position, but because he's earned it.